Welcome to the Legged Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant.
And it's me, Jordan Neal.
This episode again, we team up with Social Scousers. They sort all our social medias for us. So again, any social media needs, whether it's personal, business, give the Social Scousers a shout out. Yeah, good lads. How have you been?
Not bad, mate.
Good. Yeah.
A little bit better this week. We haven't got as much down talk.
Yeah. Now I'm done with footy, Liverpool, mate. So I'm not negative. No.
Yeah. Just ignorance is bliss now, isn't it?
Yeah. Like that is literally it. Yeah. Looking back on last weekend's sport. In fact, before we start on that, what I wanted to touch on is the MARSH Harriers.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's running its sport, and they've been running 4 miles every 4 hours for a week, and it finishes today, Friday. There's going to be a run at Crosby Bats, 12 o'clock, 4 miles, that everyone can jump on, and then there's going to be another run at 4 p.m, which is their final run, and that's going to go from the Bootle Stadium in Bridle Road. People are going to watch them run off the 4 miles at 4 o'clock and finish about 4:20 to 5, and there'll be a few beers there. So if you want to come down and support the MARSH Harriers, you're more than welcome. Jump on the run at 12 o'clock or just clap them in at 4, and it'd be great if you could donate as well. We actually had the lads on the podcast talking about the challenge. They're trying to raise 50 grand to redevelop the running track. I've been jumping on the runs with them. It's a great cause, and it's fucking mental what they're doing.
Oh, mate, I said to you, I can't believe that anyone's got like physical capacity to do that, do you know what I mean? And they need as much sort of media and as much bigging up as possible, because what they're doing is amazing.
Yeah, I don't think people realise just the enormity of what they're doing. It's
the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard enough going for a, like we all like to say fit, but it's hard enough going for a run anyway. Do you know what I mean? And getting out the door and doing it, but consistently doing it with no sleep or little sleep.
It's 24 miles a day, so you've heard people running. Eddie Izzard, for example, ran I think 50 marathons in 50 days. So the 24 miles a day isn't a big thing. It's the fact you're doing it every 4 hours. It's, you know, that consistently not getting no sleep, consistently then sitting down and having to start again. And
recovering as well, like being able to, I know 4 miles is not like a marathon all the time, but over the period it's a long distance.
Mate, and they're not like jogging it, they're like going like quick paces as well for these runs. It's mad. So if you can support it in any way, donate, and I know the lads will be really happy. Also, the sport last weekend, what I wanted to touch upon, mate, is before we get into kind of this weekend's action and a bit more of a review individually, is Sky Sports have now announced that they're going to be doing a bit of a blackout with social media. You just mentioned then about Jordan Henderson. If anyone follows him on Instagram, he's give his Instagram over to a company that will basically highlight online abuse and things like that. And it comes on the back, I think, of I saw Andrea Pirlo's son has come out and had to say, can you please stop sending me death threats?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know why anyone in the public eye now would even have social media, and that's sad because it gives people, like normal people, everyone's normal, but you know what I mean, it gives people an insight into footballers and
what it's a life of a sports star.
But why you would have it now, I think the cons outweigh the pros now. In terms of, you know, what Henderson was saying, where he was giving it over, like, you can't do anything without someone. You know, people go as low now as criticising people's children, and like, do you know what I mean? As I say, Pirlo's lad's now getting the brunt of, just because he's not performing in the way people would hope he would have. You know, I just don't understand. But it all comes down to the social media platforms. Like, anyone can sign up, anyone with any history. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to, you know, give ID or anything. You have to give ID to sign up to, you know, to tie in with us. You have to give ID to sign up to a betting website.
Yeah.
You don't have to give ID to sign up to Twitter or Instagram. It just
even a driver's license, passport, and I know people will then, and people will argue, oh, you can do a blank passport. Well, yeah, you can, but it'll definitely bring the numbers down.
Yeah, because then it becomes a minority rather than a majority.
Exactly.
And some of these are like full-grown men with families and jobs, and they're still, you know, on giving people all kinds of abuse. But it's just sad, really. Yeah,
it's just so disrespectful. I mean, Andrea Pirlo, what he done for the club,
it's
unbelievable. Okay, yeah, his managerial career is not going great right now. Inter Milan look like they've wrapped up the league, but even if they fucking get relegated, you know, you don't send someone's son a death threat.
I struggle to understand it, like, psychologically. Like, how do you get to the point where you sit down and go, right, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to send this to this lad. because I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand how you get to that point in your life where you think that's the right thing to do.
I think, you know what, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, and you see a video you like, a post that you like, then, you know, you hit the like button, great. If you see something that you don't like, just keep scrolling.
Just move on.
Just keep scrolling.
But I think it's because, I honestly believe it's because of the attention, so it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because people know now, people who are starving for attention, if I can be as despicable as possible, they will reply to me.
Yeah.
Do you know, for example, sort of like your following, if someone writes something horrible to you, you're more likely to say, hang on a minute, do you know what I mean? And go back at them, and then they get the reply, get what they want.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say, hello mate, your podcast is great, you probably get a like or whatever, not just from you, but just from anyone in general. Do you know?
Yeah.
People are starving for attention and for replies.
Yeah. It even happened, there wasn't so much abuse, but after the Liverpool-Newcastle game, which we'll probably touch on in a minute, but the lad, is it Maxon, is it Saint
Maxon?
Yeah, he put something on. Someone tweeted him saying, can you come to Anfield and we can send Mane the other way? And he, like, quote, retweeted it and said, you know, that's disrespectful, you know, I'm not on Mane's level, you know, I've still got loads more to go in my career before I get to where he is, you know, you should be lucky to have him. It's something along those lines, and you think, fair play, like, who are these people who are, you know, Mane, yeah, he's not having his greatest season, but why come out and just say shit like this? It's
baffling, isn't it? I don't think the everyday person will understand it, because, you know, I could never imagine myself. I've got more things going on in my life. Do you know what I mean? To sit and then be like, right, what I'm going to do is just abuse this person. But I think what always comes around is social media gives you a voice but not a face. So there's no way these people would say that to somebody in the street.
No.
They just wouldn't. And that's the problem. I think Mike Tyson summed it up, didn't he? Saying people have got way too comfortable for saying stuff and not getting punched for it.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah. 100%. So Sky Sports are doing a bit of a blackout. I know all Premier League clubs, I think, are doing a blackout. I'm not sure when it starts. I'm guessing it's this week coming up, which would be interesting to see. No player or club, I don't actually players are doing the blackout, but no club or Sky Sports will be doing anything, which is, hopefully it's the start of something, because like you said, mate, the social media platforms need to be doing something.
It's so easy to regulate as well. I don't know why they wouldn't do it. Why, when you don't sign up, does it not just say verify your documents, attach a PDF of your passport, job done?
Yeah.
The only people who wouldn't want to do it are people who are on there to be a decent.
To give shit to people, yeah. No, I know. So we had the shit come from Mane on the back of Liverpool's I was going to say defeat, then it should have been a defeat, the goal that was disallowed. They ended up drawing 1-1. Just shocking performance, really. You
know, summed up everything Liverpool are at the minute. To be honest, when the goal went in, the one from Willock, sort of, I was already thinking, we've got away with murder here, because how that goal for Callum Wilson gets disallowed, I'll never know.
No, I know.
Where he wanted to put his arm, I don't know. And it's a penalty if it doesn't go in anyway. But yeah, so I was sort of on the VAR thing again, like, not again, do you know what I mean? But I think VAR got away with murder in the end, because no one spoke about it since.
No.
But yeah, it just summed up everything Liverpool, just where Liverpool are at the minute.
Yeah, it's shocking. The other thing, what was I going to mention at the weekend that just gone? The boxing.
Yeah.
Your little Scouse mate who you tipped up.
Luke Willis. He put on a great performance in Barcelona. I think he impressed Eddie in as well, which hopefully that means he's now going to get. We literally said, how often does someone get a last minute shot, you know, and then comes in and does the business. So he went out there, he dropped the lad. That's his first fight in 2 years. Looked really good, so hopefully he now gets another call for a bigger fight. And obviously it's brilliant to see. We obviously want local lads, we want everyone to do it, but you want local lads to, you know, get these opportunities. So the boxing, and then we obviously had the winning tip with the UFC as well, Rose Namajunas. I couldn't, to be honest, like I was obviously made up the day after, but I didn't foresee it like that. Unbelievable,
mate. That UFC was absolutely brilliant. I sat there on the Sunday and just refrained from looking at Twitter or anything like that. Didn't message you nothing, and just had a little half an hour to myself and watched it was the 3 or 4 big main fights. Brilliant.
One of the best cards I've seen. Yeah.
Brilliant night of action, wasn't it?
I mean, obviously Rose first round to finish it with a kick like that's just stuff with dreams. But
did you see Joe Rogan's face?
To be honest, I think everyone thought she could win, and like she was an outsider, but everyone thought, you know, this girl's really good if she's on it. But no one's ever done that to Wiley. Like, not in that fashion.
She was so shocked, wasn't she? Yeah. She was just didn't really know.
Yeah, I think the floor woke her up. I think she was out.
Yeah.
When she hit the floor, she woke her up and she was confused. But it just sort of where it come from. I didn't even see it come. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, sometimes you watch it on TV. It's great, isn't it? Because you can sort of see how it's playing out. But I didn't see.
She's so slight and so. Was it strawweight? Was it?
Yeah, strawweight. Yeah, she's a monster, mate.
Yeah, and she even as well, which you pointed out on last week's Sportscast about. She'd kind of said a few remarks about China, not really knowing where she's coming from, and fair play, she kind of apologised, didn't she, as well?
I think it got caught in the cross. I think what she was trying to do is build the fight up a little bit, but she sort of overstepped the mark without understanding what she said. But as you say, she apologised and she sort of, she walked away from that night with the headlines. But even the main event with Usman and Masvidal, that knockout was sensational, but people were still talking about Rose the next day.
Yeah, that Usman fight was he's fucking a monster, isn't he? Hey, I love Masvidal as well. I think he's cool. But and he was, very gracious in defeat as well, wasn't he? His remarks afterwards and stuff. But that Usman,
he's just becoming so. He was a wrestler, like a college wrestler. So when he come in, he was like a mauler. Just grab people and ragdoll them. Really, that's how he won the title off Tyron Woodley. But he's just now becoming so rounded. His hands are as good as his wrestling. It's one of them where he's sort of getting to the point where he's starting to beat people at their strengths. He used to use his strengths to beat everyone, and now he's looking at.
That's a scary prospect.
He looked at Masvidal and said, "Right, you've got hands. You're this boxer, striker, and you beat you at that."
And what was the other fight? I forgot the name.
Andrade,
with the kick and his foot went.
Oh yeah, Chris Weidman.
Oh my god. Again, I'll be honest. I'm one of the biggest UFC fan. I'll jump on the bandwagon for big cards like this. Go back and watch that last card because if you can find it, the guy volleys him just above the knee, hits whatever nerve it is you've got in your kind of outside of your leg, and his foot just goes floppy.
Yeah,
it's fucking weird.
Do you know how good that card is? You're talking about Jimmy Cruz versus Andy Smith, where his nerves went.
Yeah,
he can't stand up. Did you see the leg break?
No.
Chris Weidman. So that's bad enough. So obviously his nerves are completely.
You know what? Actually, I saw something on Twitter saying the X-ray.
Yeah. So Chris Weidman.
Don't tell me I've missed a fight. That was like.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it was a bit further down, but Chris Weidman's the former champion. He's fighting Uriah Hall. 18 seconds in, he throws a kick to the leg, catches Uriah Hall's shin, and his leg snaps in half. And then he falls back on it.
No, I didn't see it.
So.
Thank God, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can watch it. But it's absolutely horrendous. But I was reading this week.
Or does he do one of those things where it breaks and he kind of lands on it?
It just breaks underneath him. But Uriah Hall, who obviously checks the kick, he's in a bit of distress as well because he's like, what have I done? But it's out of his control. But yeah, completely shatters his shin. But I was reading this week, that's happened 3 times in the UFC. So someone kicking and breaking their own leg. Chris Weidman's been involved twice. He's done it this weekend. And then with Anderson Silva,
I remember the Anderson Silva one.
Anderson Silva kicked him and broke his leg, and it's only happened 3 times. Been involved.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable card to watch. Like I said, I didn't see that one. The nerve damage one. It was funny because I've got that injury. I've got foot drop, so I know what it's like. I can't pull my foot up now. Thankfully, it's something I'm used to. But for him, he tries to walk forward again, doesn't he? And his foot's just flopping. Oh, it's weird.
Yeah, that was a really good fight, but. That just shows you the mentality of these people. Do you know what I mean? They're like.
It also highlights a little bit, mate, which has also been in the news this week. A bit of back and forth between Dana and one of these Paul brothers again. And as much as I fucking hate this, but we say we hate it, we talk about it most weeks. He's bringing up a good point, and he's saying that in these like freak shows that they're doing, the guys are getting paid more money. We touched on it last week. Yeah. For what we've just said, then that UFC card, the injuries that happened. What they're putting the bodies through, the risk of getting knocked the fuck out happens a few times, and they're not getting paid what they should, are they really?
I don't think anyone outside the top 5% in boxing or UFC is ever making enough money to sort of weigh up the risk. They're doing it because
to justify what they're putting the body through.
Yeah, but they're doing it because that's how they're programmed. The reason they're fighters is probably the reason they couldn't probably do a normal job. Do you know what I mean? They're wired differently. To get in and it's all good. I may sort of have a job of talking about it, but it's okay talking about it, but it's the people that get in there that are the real stars of the show, and the reason they do that is because they are wired different. But I don't believe the majority of them even think about the money at the start. Do you know what I mean? It's not sort of if anyone else would start a business, because essentially you are the business of as a martial artist or a boxer. Anyone else starting a business would only do things that would bring profit. How many fighters do you hear of that say, well, yeah, go on, I'll just take that money because I need to fight? Probably out of pocket at the end of the day, below minimum wage. And that's just sort of the way it's always been. But
yeah, I think that card just highlighted it for me. I mean, I'd heard rumblings that, you know, fighters weren't getting paid enough in the UFC this last week. I think you see that card and you see what they're putting themselves through.
I think, I firmly believe it's MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world. I think UFC is the fastest growing brand, or one of. So I think the pay will inevitably rise with the eyes that come with it. But, you know, as you say, what's the price you put on doing that for
your health?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the brutality of it is, once you're no longer needed, you cut like that. Do you know what I mean? Gone. With whatever money you've managed to make and managed to invest.
I think that's like that with most sports. I don't know if I've told this story on the Sportscast or the Leggett podcast. When Jamie Carragher had the same thing, I remember getting asked to go and they wanted me to walk around the pitch carrying this trophy for like something like, I don't know, something was going on within this, nothing to do with football, but they were using the game at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon to promote it. He said, Andy, can you come and walk around the pitch before the game? Now I'm normally in the pub watching the match if I'm not going, and I said to them, oh, okay, do I get a ticket at the game? And she went, oh no, just turn up about 2:30, we'll walk you around the pitch at 10 to 3, and then you're free to go then. And I was like, so hang on, I've got to leave my mates and a boozer, go and walk around the pitch for 10 minutes. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about people having to, you know. And anyway, so I was laughing and I told Carragher it, and he went, fucking hell, lad, I won the Champions League for them, I don't get fuck all off them. You think so? Once you're done with them...
So, it is literally, innit? Watch the door on your way out.
Yeah, which is mad, isn't it?
And I think that's a big problem. I think that's got to change. I know there's sort of things in boxing that people are trying to put together where, you know, boxers will have advice in terms of investment and managing the money and stuff like that. But the problem is, in these sports, there's a lot of people who will...
A lot of leeches, I imagine.
Exactly. And, you know, they take their 10% and then they move on. So it takes some, say, 20%, 30%. But, yeah, I think that's always going to be a problem. But, you know, for what they do, as you say, risk their health, risk everything. You know, Canelo had done an interview this week and they were talking about obviously he's at the top of the sport. Do you ever get scared going into the ring? And he says no. He says, I know I can die in there, so I say goodbye to my kids every time. Just having the mentality to do that and keep doing it.
Imagine that was your job, like, isn't, you know.
And he's at the top of the game. He said, I don't allow myself to get hit in order to do that, but, you know, I know there's a full well that I can walk up to that ring and never walk down. And, you know, sadly it happened this week in the amateur championships. A kid got knocked out and
really?
He died, yeah. You know,
the
damages are there for everyone to see, but, you know, at what point do you break it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll come back onto boxing and that for this weekend coming up. I know they got a good card, but just last on this weekend's of sport, Rangers got beat in the quarter-final in the 120th minute. They conceded, got beat 2-1. That stopped their chance at the double.
Everyone's become a Rangers fan, you know?
I know, everyone knows everything about them now. Yeah, and then obviously we had the... so I was a bit gutted for Stevie there. I thought at least the double would have been good. Obviously the treble ended a few weeks back. I thought at least the double, but, you know... Yeah,
I mean, Gerard's done what he's done, and, you know, I know there's people who criticise him, say it's Farmers League and all that stuff, but other people went in and couldn't do it.
Yeah, oh no, yeah.
What he's done is a great job. I hope, you know, he's my favourite footballer of all time. I grew up right in the middle of the Gerrard generation, so
yeah,
I can only hope he's a brilliant manager.
Well, they've got Celtic this weekend and they're still on course. They can still do the 100 points. I think Celtic have got a good chance of... I'll talk again a bit when we do our tips, but I've actually got Celtic down for a win, possibly.
Yeah.
They're 9-5, and Celtic and the draw is a good chance at 1-2. I think, yeah, it's whether they've took the foot off the boil a bit, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Liverpool did, didn't they? Remember last year we sort of did the same thing, but I think once you build yourself up to do what they've done, there's got to be like a come down.
Yeah, a drop off.
When you when them players sit in their houses all together, you know, they've got to be a feeling of, we've done it, do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, fucking hell.
Get this season done.
Yeah, you're thinking about your holidays, aren't you, already?
I think obviously Liverpool first hand did that. But yeah, I think you're probably right. Celtic have got a lot, maybe not a lot to play for in terms of short term, but you know, a lot of them are probably playing for the contract.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. And on sticking on the footy, the midweek Champions League, I'll be honest, I was happy to watch, hopefully, you know, 22 absolute ballers play last night with Man City and PSG, but I was half gutted that, you know.
Yeah. I'm bitter me, like, because I didn't watch it. Seeing PSG went 1-0 up, put it on, and then sort of got to half time and I was made up. And then seen the City, I turned it off again.
I mean, it was a great performance by City. Absolutely, you know.
Perfect way forward, yeah.
Perfect, yeah. You know, great to see, you know, glimpses of Mbappe, how fast he was, and you know, things like that. But I think City just outshone them.
De Bruyne for me.
De Bruyne,
you know
unbelievable.
I don't know if I was a massive David Silva fan, obviously still am, but I don't know if I've seen a more like complete player. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, he just stands out, like, and he doesn't even have to do much.
Oh no.
Do you know what I mean? The ball sort of comes to him. His distribution is second to none. I don't know, when he's starting to carry the order, isn't he, of like a proper world class dominating. You remember like Gerrard, sort of Lampard a bit in the Prem as well, where there's just something around them, isn't it? That you know that
this aura,
the game's going to be decided by how they decide to end it.
You've hit the net. I think he's starting to get now in his career that Gerrard feel,
It is, yeah. It's like,
where it's like,
they've got him, they can pretty much do it.
Yeah, you know, in the last minute, give it to De Bruyne. You know,
you
he's.
can sort of see that with him though, because remember at Chelsea, obviously he was a young guy then, but he was sort of like a skinny, sort of head down, wasn't he? Just a brilliant footballer, but now it's like chest out. He looks like...
It's like he's demanding it. You know, he's always demanded the ball, but it's like, come on, yeah, no, we can do this, and it's...
I'm just impressed by him. Like, obviously I don't really want to sing much praise towards City because I just don't, but I just can't help but be impressed by him.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be, for I think any Liverpool fan, it's just going to be it's like you've got your missus, and you know she has an affair with. You've got two brothers, and she shags one of your brothers. It's like picking which brother you want to shag your missus. If it's going to be Chelsea and City final,
oh yeah, can't miss them.
Same. It's going to be horrible. But I think that's the review. Anything else from last weekend?
No,
to touch on.
Touched on everything. It was obviously a good weekend of sport.
Yeah, it was a good weekend, mate. Our tip as well. Obviously, you backed Rose.
Yeah.
I did back Altio to win. Although I did say, he, you know, I fancy him for a top two finish.
Schemer, to be honest.
And we also mentioned, you know, you're the one who said it, how much does Cheltenham take out the two horses? Yeah. And the two horses that in all week were the front two players in the favourite betting, you know, finish way behind Altio.
Yeah, and I think it does take obviously it does take a lot. I've not seen Altio ridden like that before, where he's sort of just shot off from the front, and he looked brilliant for a long way. Obviously they just reined him back in, but you know, he's shown that there's still sort of gas in that tank. And as you say, he's still, once again, he's pleased.
Yeah, that's a crazy record now in the top two. Right, what have you got on this weekend, George?
Boxing's, there's a massive sort of week of boxing. Friday night, Sonny Edwards fights against Maruti Mithalane, if I've pronounced that right, on BT Sport. Flyweight. Sonny Edwards is a kid who, I don't know if you've seen that, he's dead active on Twitter. He's always giving people loads. Like he's the divisive character. He's really talented. Like he come through the GB setup, didn't quite go to the Olympics or anything, but a really talented boxer. But he takes on a South African champion who's 38. But this fella turned over to pros in 2000. Won his first world title in 2008 when Sonny Edwards was 12.
In 2000?
Yeah, that's when he turned pro, yeah.
I was thinking about what year are we in now for a minute then?
2000, he's still going. He's 38. Like people are saying, he's been inactive since 2019 with all his COVID stuff, but you know, you think everyone should know about him. Like a multi-time world champion, sort of. I think his record's 39-2. He's beaten like names like Zolani Tete, John Rio Casimiro, really good fighters. No one really knows who he is.
Yeah, I'd not heard of him.
No, but obviously down at flyweight, you know, £108 or whatever it is, you know, they just don't have the star power. But yeah, Frank Wadden and BT Sport have brought him over to try and make Sonny Edwards a world champion. It's an uphill task, like. I mean, obviously he is 38, so if he's over deal, Sonny's got a chance because really good boxer. You know.
Just quickly on that, to interrupt you, Frank Warren you mentioned then. you seen the documentary with him?
I keep meaning to watch it.
It's great, you know.
Yeah, he's had a mad life.
Mad life, yeah. Got getting into boxing from Mountain back when it was run by gangsters in London. It's a really cool documentary if anyone hasn't seen it. It's
yeah, Frank has his detractors. Now obviously in this age, but he's been in the game a long time.
Yeah.
Still going. And obviously he's still got an appetite for it. He's still at every.
Well, he's still representing Tyson Fury, isn't he?
He's involved in that, and then he's got. Like, he's always at the shows. Sort of Barry Hearn, who obviously had Eddie to take over, he's sort of just retired. And he's from that generation.
Yeah.
And he's still going. So yeah, that's a really good main event. I think, to be honest, if Michelin is still what he is, he'll beat Sonny Edwards in the distance. But you know, Sonny's a good boxer, slick, quite flashy. So if he has slowed down, he's got a chance. But yeah, really good fighter, one that I definitely watch. The undercard's got Michael Condon on.
I've seen that, yeah. So he's still undefeated, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's sort of like the next sort of heir to the throne of Frampton, in Belfast. He's got a massive Irish following, and obviously he's just coming to the point in his career now, 14-0, where he's got a time. He's starting to move on.
He's gone up the opponents a little bit.
The apprenticeship's done basically. So I think it'll be a good few years following him.
Is this going to be a tougher fight for him this weekend?
Yeah, Beluta's a good guy. I think he's beat 3 Irishmen. He's Romanian. Don't know how this has happened, but he's beat his last 2. Definitely his last 2, might be his last 3. He's beat Irish fighters.
Just got a taste for the Irish.
Irish slayer. Yeah, that's a really good fight, and I think that's Conlan's first fight down at Super Bantam. He's campaigned at 126 for the start of his career, so he's down to 122 now, which probably is more like his weight class, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on.
It's interesting that you're saying, like, he's getting built up to the next Frampton. I wonder, listen, it's got to be excitement knowing that you've got the backing and you've got the kind of, that trajectory. It's also got to be a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it, thinking, that's my life now, I'm kind of going to be in the shadow for now and hopefully one day outshine it. But I
think he's been moulded for this though, because did you see when he got robbed in the Olympics? Didn't you see? And he threw the bird at the judges and called them corrupt and stuff. So then that sort of made this big buzz around him, and then he was signed by Top Rank. His debut was Madison Square Garden. Only the theatre in there.
It was the McGregor one, yeah, I remember, yeah.
So they always do Paddy's Day there with him. He brings out obviously the massive.
I was there in New York that weekend, yeah.
And he brings, obviously he's got a massive following. It's only growing, but so he has been moulded for this. But Frampton, as you say, like, people are starting to reflect on his career now and realise just how good he was.
How good he was, yeah. Big shoes to fill.
Exactly, so obviously he needs to sort of kick on now, but there's a fight on the undercard, Troy Williamson, Keaton Smith. I put it out on social media yesterday.
I've seen that, yeah.
It's been lost because obviously there's a big pay-per-view card as well with Parker Chisora, so there's a lot of hype, you know what I mean, there's a lot of sort of content getting put out there, so it's been lost, but I reckon it's the fight of the weekend, to be honest.
Yeah.
2 lads, 16-0, 14-0 I think, or 15-0 and 1, 16-0. So these are obviously 2 lads on the way up again. I really fancy Keaton Smith. He's the underdog. 6-4 yesterday. He was backed in now. I think he's evens.
Yeah.
So I really fancy him to get a win there. But yeah, for people tuning into the boxing, that's a fight that I think it's third on the card. So you will see it on BT Sports. But I think that's obviously one to keep an eye on. And then the boxing keeps rolling this weekend. Got obviously Chisora Parker at the MEN.
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
Parker's brilliant, by the way. Have you seen him on social media?
Yeah, there's lockdown stuff.
Yeah, he's funny, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a character. But interesting with him, he was with Kevin Barry for a long time for his trainer, based in Vegas. So he left him about 9 weeks ago. Teamed up with Andy Lee, and he's already got a fight here. But apparently he's moving his whole family to Ireland.
Really?
Really going, really basing himself with. He's been living with Andy Lee's in-laws for the last 8 weeks.
Wow, that's the side of boxing you don't see, do you?
No. But I've seen an interview yesterday with Andy Lee, who said in the interview, was like, really, he's really coming to Ireland? And he was like, yeah, he's serious about it. And this is a guy who's been world champion.
And how old is he?
Joshua, I think he's about 31 now, Joshua Parker, because he's a world champion here.
Yeah.
And then he fought Joshua, didn't he? Got his belt taken off him. But yeah, obviously with heavyweight boxing, it's a bit different because you don't really come into your peak till 33, 34 even. So yeah, he's obviously at that second stage of his career now. But
who are you fancying for that?
I think Parker will win. I think he's just the fresher of the two, but neither can afford to lose.
No, yeah, I think with Chisora, you've kind of got that feeling, haven't you? Where
how long has this lasted?
Yeah. It's like you just said then about those other great fights. The big one as well is Tasha Jonas as well.
Yeah.
And Katie
Taylor. Yeah.
Katie Taylor.
To be honest, these two have been on a collision course. When they both turned over, they were meant to be matched, to fight. Tasha suffered a defeat, a shock defeat, a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's a brilliant fight. Obviously, Tasha really threw herself back on the scene in her last performance against Terry Harper, which she won.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched that.
There's no other way of saying
wounded watching that.
Yeah. But these two fought in the Olympics and they broke. Have you seen they broke the record for the amount of sound made at a sporting event?
Really?
2012, yeah. The highest decibels that has been ever created at a sporting event, or within like an indoor sport event. So I
didn't know that. Yeah.
Send it to you. They broke it, with the sound, so it's a bit weird. There's gonna be no fans this time.
Oh yeah. Considering the atmosphere, it would have been.
So,
I think as well with the big, obviously following both two crazy sets of fans, aren't they? Boxing fans.
Yeah, I think that's why it broke it. I think it's because pretty much.
That is a shame. That I think. Hope Tasha does it.
I feel like her chance to win it was last time against Terry Harper at super featherweight, which is her natural weight division. She's up at lightweight now, fighting Katie Taylor, and I'm there. Like I love her. I hope she does it, but
A step too far, you think?
I don't know. Katie Taylor's not been perfect the last couple of fights, and I'm a biggest fan, but yeah, it's one of them. Like
I kind of, not only for the Scouse thing, but I love when, and listen, I love Eddie Hearn, I think he's great, but I love when kind of so much investment gets put into someone and then the underdog comes and just wrecks all the plans. Yeah. And Katie Taylor feels like she's had that kind of, Eddie Hearn's kind of baby, and it's this and that, and I think if Tasha could come in and mix it up, it'd be brilliant.
Doesn't get the credit she deserves,
no.
And it's because of that defeat. Obviously there's a big thing in boxing where people are obsessed with undefeated records and stuff like that. She had a defeat. She's like, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I believe she's a single mum. It's like she was an amazing amateur. She's like a trailblazer for like female sport in our city.
Yeah.
She just doesn't get the credit she deserves.
I agree, yeah.
And no matter what happens on Saturday, she'll give a good account of herself.
And
in boxing, in women's boxing, there's not many people who've got like a one shot knockout power, but Tasha has. She's one of the very few. And
by all accounts, knowing the lads who know her and stuff in the boxing circles, just what a lovely person as well.
I've never heard, you do hear bad things about people. Even being sort of reporting on it, you do, but I've never heard anything bad about it.
We've had, she's going to come on the podcast as well. It's like everything just trying to fit it work, but we've had it back and forth with her and stuff, and she's really cool for coming on the pod, so we'll try and get on the Sportscast as well.
But I think she's just, I don't know, it frustrates me really that she doesn't quite get the credit she deserves. And even in Liverpool, really. She what she does for, I think his sister's a professional footballer as well.
Really, yeah?
I forget her name, but I think she's a professional footballer, but yeah, she's a Scouse boxing legend, like.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But there's a couple of good fights on there. Obviously Chris Eubank Jr. is on there as well.
Is he fighting as well, yeah?
So interestingly, he's got Roy Jones Jr. in his corner. So he's never had a trainer, essentially, throughout his whole career. He's been called uncoachable, stuff like that. So he's been out now for...
He's always strikes me as someone who looks unbelievable in training, flashy, this, that, and you just think, wow. And then, again, speaking in the boxing circles, you think, I always remember Paul Smith said, I think when it was always spoken about him and Callum one day fighting, and he said, look, yeah, he looks the part, but there's no match. And
fundamentals, mate, that's what, when you get to a certain level in anything, your natural ability or your natural athletic ability only takes you so far. Do you know what I mean? We had a chat about this last week.
I was going to say then, yeah.
It only takes you so far, and then other things start to come into play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's not had a trainer in his whole career. He tried to go with Adam Booth. Adam Booth called him uncoachable, and then he obviously suffered a few defeats. He lost to Groves.
I was dying for him. Obviously, I was buzzing when Callum Smith's my favourite boxer ever, but when Callum fought Groves, it was great to see, but I wanted Callum to face Eubank.
Yeah, would have been a really good match of a styles, but yeah, he's sort of, I don't know, I think he bit the bullet now and gone, do you know what, I can't do this on my own. So he's gone to Roy Jones Jr.
It's mad to think that he's
one of the, obviously one of the best boxers ever.
Yeah, it's mad to think though that he's never been coached properly.
He just had his dad. Have you ever seen the stuff? His dad used to like pose and stuff.
His dad loved it more than him.
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah, it's tough. I think the stubbornness has probably been his biggest downfall. Yeah, really. But now obviously he's reached out.
Who's he fighting this weekend then?
Marcus Morrison, the lad from Manchester, who's really good. Like obviously he's a couple of levels below Eubank, probably natural ability, but he's a tough lad. Been beat 3 times, I think, never stopped. Really good domestic level fighter. But yeah, I'm really interested because I've never bought Eubank Junior thing. Like I've never been really a fan.
I remember I was, and then I spoke to Paul Smith in the gym, and he was like, "You'll get found out soon enough."
I think that
and sure enough, he did.
Yeah, I think that was the feeling through all boxers, really. Do you know what I mean? It's like they sort of was like they seen through it. You know what I mean?
It's funny, isn't it? Like, I mean, mate, you're one of the most knowledgeable people I know in boxing. It's funny, me as a fan, I'm like the blasé, wow, that looks dead good, he must be really good. And then someone who knows a bit about boxing, he's like, nah, he's not, he's shite.
Yeah, but to be honest, he built up a big following. I remember at university, he fought Billy Joe Saunders. So this was 2014, so I was brassic and I put the money I had on Billy Joe to win. And all my mates at the time were like, Chris Eubank, like, he's going to win, look, he's a beast and all that stuff. I sat there, I think I won 400 quid.
Wow.
Mate, I was rich.
That's what I mean, though. You can get caught up in the hype and the everything, can't you?
Because he looks great.
Yeah.
And if you put his clips on YouTube, you'd think...
That's what I mean. When he's got that thing on the wall and how fast he's going, I was like, wow, world champ. Yeah, exactly. yeah.
But no, yeah, so it's good to see him back. Obviously, he's not fought in a while under Roy Jones. See what Roy Jones has done sort of for him. He's going to be my, obviously we're touching on later, but I think he's going to be my bet this week as well, because I think Roy Jones will try and get him to box because he's never boxed. He's just ran at people and thrown the kitchen sink. And it's worked for a long time, but so I think he's going to come out and try and box, which will be interesting.
Which is that on TV, is it?
Yeah, so it's on Sky Sports.
Sky Sports, yeah.
Saturday. The pay-per-view it is, obviously. But
obviously.
But it should be. It's, to be honest, it's a good card. There's lads like James Tennyson on there, who's another Irish lad. He's a wrecking ball knockout artist, so you know there's good value on there.
Yeah, mate, it's tons of boxing.
Mate, beat all weekend. I'm pigging shit.
I know.
But yeah, it's Campbell Hatton is on there as well.
Is he fighting again already?
Second, yeah, so
it was only 3-4 weeks ago he fought, was it?
Just trying to keep him just rolling over.
Yeah.
He won't fight anyone.
Won't be anyone decent, yeah.
And also Scott Fitzgerald, do you remember the lad who beat Andy Fowler?
Yeah.
He returns after he's had 2 years of legal trouble, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, he sort of fell off the wagon. He beat Fowler, beat Ted Cheeseman, and then just ended up getting arrested and had loads of issues personally, addictions and stuff like that. So he's back. So it'll be good to see him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real big boxing weekend.
Yeah, it's massive.
Bit of horse racing as well, to be fair. Our alcohol free's out again. We had the winner on.
He is as confident as he was last week.
I don't know, it's a better race. It's obviously, I think when did we win that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Living, yeah.
So quick turnaround. This is the 1,000 guineas, so it's a top race. He's 13-2, so he's fancied to, but I wouldn't put anyone off each way, no, because he, as we've seen last time, he keeps going.
Did you say the jumps is done now?
Yeah,
is it over now?
So Punchestown Festival's this week, which is the last Irish festival, but then it's been going on. Then it's done, and then I think it takes a week break, starts again. So there's a jump fixture throughout the summer, but it's much more low key until the autumn.
I do like the jumps are the one, but I do love in the summertime. I think it's June. Glorious Goodwood.
Yeah.
You know, my birthday's the 17th of June. I say every year, go down and big firm of us go. We'll have to do it one year.
Obviously, blood for me is national racing. That's what I've always been, what I've always known. But yeah, I've never really been to a flat meeting really. I've been to Aidoch and Chester. Yeah. But when I didn't really understand it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chester's a great day out, like.
Chester, I've got Chester booked in June actually. Yeah. It's the restrictions end, I think, don't they, the 22nd of June, and Chester's on the 26th. Yeah. So I'm going to that.
So they got that middle bit, haven't they? Like,
it's great, Chester. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm the same as you. Love the national hunts, but I just think the races in general, it's just a great day out. It's got my...
I missed it massively.
Yeah, just the days out. I've been there just with me and my dad. I've just been there with, loads of big gangies, boys, girls. It's just a great day.
Haydock's I love Aintree, but Haydock's my favourite course to go. There's a couple of Saturday meetings in the winter, so things like November, December, one in February and January, I think. But they're low key, do you know what I mean? But they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Boss course, dead sociable. Yeah, I've missed it massively,
Yeah, no, I feel so confident about this year now. That, it's kind of, now I'm starting to get butterflies again and thinking,
My Mr. said to me yesterday, Spain looks like it's opening up. We've seen the same, you might be able to travel and stuff like that. Yeah. Just hearing that stuff's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just having a bit of positive.
And I think, just personally, I think work's starting up again, the Sportscast going again. Hopefully we'll have some big news with regards to a kind of partnership, which with a twist, let's say, in the next few weeks, which I think will be dead exciting. So, it's.
I think we've got loads of really exciting stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah.
We've been working on, and obviously with Tom as well. And it's just really exciting times, as you say. It's a time to be positive now. We've been negative for part of 2 years.
And apologies if anyone's just fed up of us moaning about football and VAR, but yeah.
That's nearly over now.
It's nearly over. Much more positive spin on things.
Sunny flat meetings.
Yeah. And I'm losing this tipping competition like big time now. So I think it's this. I mean, I've lost it. This is the last week, innit?
You can draw level if you go, oh no, this is the last week, isn't it?
It's 2-0. So I can most get a 2-1.
Yeah.
I bet we'll probably end up 3-1 knowing you, but so yeah, next weekend it'll have to be a forfeit. So if anyone's got any ideas of what you want the forfeit to be, I know your kids said about it. What was it? Man United or Everton top, was it?
So he commented straight away saying that he'd buy an Everton top if one was it. Yeah.
So anyway, I've lost this betting competition. So if you want to see me wearing an Everton top next week, or you can think of anything else, then let me know.
It's a killer,
that is a killer, that.
It's not even like, do you know, a drinking one where you just do it and
it's done. It's sitting here for an hour in a fucking blue piece of shit. Mate, what are your tips for this weekend?
So yeah, as I said, I'm going to go for, I think there's I wouldn't put anyone off sort of alcohol free each way again, 13-2, you know, I think that's it. He'll run his race, she'll run a race. There's a couple in the boxing. I think Parker might stop Chisora. Obviously I said on Keaton Smith, I think he's a good bet, but the one that I'm nailing down is Chris Eubank Jr. points 3-1.
Bigger price, yeah.
As I said, I think he's going to come out to box, sort of show Roy Jones that he's been learning. Marcus Morrison's a tough guy.
I can't wait to see Roy Jones Jr.'s face if he doesn't listen to him.
But he's got that thing, hasn't he?
He's got that thing where I'll come in and I'll bang you myself.
But he's so I think he's going to box more. It's a 10-rounder. He hasn't fought for a while. You know, I think it's sort of, I think you might see a different side to you. But how long that lasts going forward, I don't know. But I think definitely this week he'll try and sort of show that he can box against Marcus Morrison, as I say, tough guy. So yeah, 3-1 for Chris Eubank Jr. points. That's going to be me.
I'm going to go, it's going to break my heart to say this, but as they say, bet with your head, not your heart. I think Celtic at 9-5. If you're going to go more of a banker bet, they're 1-2 for the double chance to draw or the win. But yeah, what we mentioned before, I think 9-5, you don't know where the Rangers players' heads are at, you know. There's no cup competitions, they're out both of them. The league's done.
They want to get an holiday.
They want a holiday, you know, they want to just...
It's been a long time for them as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with that racism stuff.
Yeah,
They've
it's...
been through quite a lot as a team, haven't they? So.
Yeah, and I just think if you know, it's not often you get a nearly 2-1 for Celtic.
No.
You know, in an old firm.
It's going to be interesting that, just to go off that next year, isn't it? To see how sort of Celtic react and reply in that league, do you know what I mean?
Well, they need to get a good manager in, don't they? I think there was talk about Rafa going there, wasn't there? What a fucking old firm that'd be, Rafa and Stevie. I think this summer in general is going to be interesting for the moves and stuff. I mean, there's a few strikers going to be on the move this summer. I think, you know, Man City are going to be needing a striker with Aguero going. I think Bobby's time at Liverpool might have come to an end. Harry Kane's looking to move on.
I think just not to draw back to Liverpool, I think there's a couple of our players who might sort of, you know, obviously Wijnaldum looks like he's going to be up there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I imagine Salah will stay, you know, sort of. I don't know really where Mane's at. You can see sort of his, you know, he's in bad form, but just in general he doesn't look very happy.
No.
But I think we probably need a bit of fresh blood, don't we? And I think that goes for everyone. In terms of Kane needs a fresh start.
Yeah, we've got Harvey Elliott. I think he might come back in. He's done well in Blackburn this season.
I love that old school going out on loan.
Yeah, and you know what? He's loved it, hasn't he? He's excelled and he's thought, fuck it, I'm going to go and prove.
There's
and he's
no reserve competition anymore, is there? Like,
there is, but it's not the standard it used to be.
23s, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But even back when I played footy and stuff, reserve teams were like, obviously it was a mix of like pros who weren't playing or like coming back to fitness against other pros who weren't playing, young players, do you know what I mean? It was a mix of, and it was competitive.
Yeah.
Now it just sort of looks...
It hasn't got that competitive feel. Yeah.
He either went to Blackburn, Elliott, and got kicked about.
Oh yeah.
He's even all his teammates in training probably wouldn't have paid him no respect when he first went in.
16, 17 I think he is, and he's only a little lad as well.
Yeah. I think he'll come back completely.
Yeah, I hope they give him a go next season. I also think, again, that whole little merry-go-round of strikers, but Lukaku, it's only Ronaldo who's ahead of him in the Italian top goal scorer.
Madly, like, I know, do you know we talk about Eubank Jr. looking good? He looks crap, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's so effective.
I think there's like a highlight reel of just how shit he is sometimes. However, he's also fucking gets the goals.
And you know you're playing against him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember when he was at Everton, there's not been many players over the years, obviously who've got that great record against Everton, but, well, smashed it to bits now, but...
It doesn't count COVID, doesn't matter.
Yeah. But like obviously, I think Kale was another one where you think he could score him.
Yeah.
Lukaku's another one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You always felt the danger.
It'd be interesting to see, I think, with him and Kane. I don't know how settled Lukaku is there, but I think Kane as well. I mean...
He looks like a Man United player to me, but whether he goes to... It's just, if he swaps Man United for Tottenham, it's much of the same, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think if... And also you got the Mbappe-Haaland thing as well. I think if City were to get Harry Kane and have him for 3 or 4 years, that'd be a scary prospect to think of,
you know. Kane is how long he can keep going, because I don't know if have you seen when he plays, his ankles are massive, aren't they? Like, serious strappings and stuff. Yeah,
very injury prone now, isn't he?
But yeah, I think obviously for Liverpool as well, we need a bit of fresh blood, really.
Yeah.
But where that comes from in-house, as you say, with Elliot, Jota comes a bit...
Jota, yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. I hope that we get the announcement that VAR's
fucked off.
Forever.
Yeah. Fans back in the stadium.
Back to old school.
Yeah. Back to being able to enjoy it. Yeah. No, I think, so the other little bet, my bet is Celtic 9-5. If you want to be a bit more cautious, I think 1-2 for the draw and the win. Jordan's gone for Eubank on points, 3-1. Other little few we've tipped up. Alcohol free, 13-2.
Yeah, 13-2 each way. And then obviously a few in the boxing with, I think, Parker, obviously stoppage. Keaton Smith, and a little loyalty one on Tasha Jones.
Yeah, got to throw that in, haven't you? What price is she, do you know?
She's like 9-2, just to win. She's 12-1 for the knockout, which is what I'm going to put 20 quid on.
That is a bet,
I mean?
yeah. Just a scouse knockout power winning me loads of money.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. No, thanks for listening, everyone. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's been really good, mate. Love doing it.
Okay, make sure you subscribed. Give us a like, a comment, tell your mates about it. Thanks again to Social Scousers, and see you next week.